Next up, we have Lisa Pearson, who is an accomplished public speaker on digital strategy, sharing insights on the buying behaviors of Gen Y and trends in social media. She's influenced audiences around the world at events like this, and South by Southwest, Marketing 360, Internet Week, CM Summit, and AMA. That's obviously the highest of pedigrees that you can possibly have. I would also say that the Bazaar Voice is one of our very trusted partners with 3M, and we could not be more thrilled to have Lisa with us today. Please help me welcome Lisa.
Thank you, Greg. So everybody wants to criticize millennials. They say they're entitled and spoiled, and they all live at home with their moms and dads. And in fact, that's not true. And millennials are really getting an undeserved bad rap. Because the truth is that millennials are going to be responsible for some pretty profound changes that are going on in our culture. So 5 years from now, you'll never get a present you don't want. And you'll no longer be shackled to things like mortgages or car payments. And you'll all actually be investors and designers of the brands you love. So I was born nowhere near 1982. So technically, of course, I'm not a millennial. But I'm actually really, really excited to see what my life will look like in the next 5 years because of their input. So 5 years from now, my husband will pick me up from work. And he'll be late, but I won't care because he'll be in our new car. And it's our third new car this month. And no, we're not bad drivers or anything. It's just that we don't own a car anymore. We just subscribe to a car brand so that we can drive whatever we want, whenever we want. And we'll head out to the mall so our daughter Eloise can use the 3D printer to print out a bicycle she designed. And and yes, that's really my daughter. And it's so totally her. It's got like a funny little gingham seat and a cute horn. And the thing is, she's an original. She's like an Etsy girl. She doesn't want toys that other kids have. She refers to herself as a designer and as an inventor. And she's 9. So we'll head out to the mall, and my husband will have the uncontrollable urge to buy me a present. Just 'cause. And he won't be able to screw it up no matter how hard he tries, because he's not going to have to rely on the hazy memory of a conversation we once had about sweaters or necklaces. He's actually just going to pull up an app on his phone, and the app is going to design a perfect capsule collection of things that I love, not just based on past purchase experiences, but actually based on restaurants I've been to, art I've admired, songs I've liked. And so when we get home from this busy day, we'll ask our refrigerator, hey, what's for dinner? And the fridge will factor in what the kids had for lunch through the school's API. It'll look at all the recipes that I've ever posted or tweeted, pinned, or liked. And it'll look at the sorry collection of noodles and salsa and cilantro we have inside. We live in Texas, by the way. And it'll design for us a Mexican lasagna. And that's something that all 4 of us will actually eat. So after dinner, our kids will beg to go to bed early. My husband and I will watch The Late Show, and we'll all get a good night's sleep. So 5 years from now, I'm going to be able to design my perfect life. And it's actually on the backs of millennials that I'm going to get there. So why should all of you care about millennials? Well, for one thing, 5 years from now, they're going to have more purchasing power than any other generation ever in history. They have incredibly specific requirements for how they'll engage with brands. But it's not just them. Millennials are actually proxy for every other generation. So Gen X and Boomers are very quickly mimicking millennial behaviors in how we relate to technology and how we relate to brands. So before we talk about how to market to or with millennials better, let's take a look at one in the wild. So this is Emily, and Emily's a real person. She's 26, she lives in Austin, she works in advertising. She's a quintessential millennial. So she's always on, she is hyper connected. Emily sleeps with her iPhone under her pillow. Her iPhone has a waterproof case so that she can text while she's in the shower. She texts on average every 10 minutes, which by the way is a millennial average, not just Emily. And she's actually petitioning her local movie theater for a text-friendly zone. Emily is super opinionated, and she's been told since she was a little tiny Emily that her opinions matter. And so she expects to be listened to. She expects to be listened to by her friends, she expects to be listened to by her boss, and she expects to be listened to by brands. So Emily is obsessed with fashion, but she doesn't read a single fashion magazine. She just follows her favorite bloggers' Instagram feeds. That's how she learns about stuff. She loves the show Scandal, but she won't watch it unless a minimum of 5 of her friends have committed to live tweeting throughout. And there are a couple other things that Emily has strong opinions on, and these are, in no particular order, things that Emily thinks are for old people, or in her mind, irrelevant. So one is watches. Traditional watches, what's the point? Voicemails, nobody listens to those. Hotels, forget it. Airbnb is way cooler. Owning a home, too big of a commitment. Owning a car, there's no point. You can just subscribe to one. And then last but not least, Facebook. And I'll give you 3 words on why. Mom and grandma. So to be competitive with millennials, brands are going to need to do a couple things. And one is offer a return on data, access to authentic opinions where they matter most, and millennial-first design. So let's talk about data. Millennials are waking up to the power of their valuable data, and they're no longer going to be content to let businesses profit from their data without getting something in return. And data is the currency with which millennials will negotiate new relationships with brands. And what they want from brands really is just better experiences. So I bet a lot of you use Pandora, and that's something that has a beautifully simple value prop. You tell it a song you like, that's data. It gives you a playlist you'll love, that's value. So Poshly is a company that's being referred to as the Pandora of beauty. And Poshly is a beauty retailer where you go on and you tell it a lot of data about yourself, about your skincare, your skin preferences, your skin anxieties, how much money you want to spend on your skincare, skin preferences, and skin anxieties. And in return, Poshly gives you product offerings that it guarantees are going to be perfect for you. So that's a great visualization of the data value exchange. But as this whole thing gets more sophisticated and millennials get wiser to the value of their personal data, it's not going to be enough to just offer compelling products or products that feel highly custom to them. They're also going to expect to be recognized and rewarded for sharing their data. And when I say recognized and rewarded, I don't mean with coupons and discounts, because that's not what's motivating to them. So if you look at companies like Urban Outfitters, they're doing a terrific job already with this. So Urban Outfitters takes some of their most loyal advocates and features them in their national advertising campaign. But it features them alongside real models, and it doesn't make the distinction of who's the model and who's the consumer. So if you're an Urban Outfitters fashionista, how awesome is that you've become an Urban Outfitters model too? So it's not just being featured in advertising, though. We talk about you guys at 3M doing a terrific job with bringing consumers in through digital focus groups and getting their opinions on product offerings before they go to market. So 5 years from now, the data value exchange for me is going to be pretty wild. So I'm going to have told Banana Republic a ton of stuff. I'm going to have given them a lot of my personal data. So I'll tell Banana Republic how much I'm willing to spend on clothing, what my secret body anxieties are, what my favorite color is, what clothes I like and don't like. And in return, Banana Republic is going to give me a shopping experience that doesn't suck. And I'm going to walk into a Banana Republic store, and there are not going to be any pesky associates loitering around, and there are not going to be any overcrowded racks full of clothing. There are just going to be fitting rooms that are outfitted with magic mirrors. And these magic mirrors are going to know everything about your personal data. So I'll walk in, and through my phone, the magic mirror will know to turn Rihanna off and put on the black keys instead. And it'll know that I hate trying on clothes. So it'll actually pull up a visualization of my body that's exactly right, and it'll allow me to virtually try on the clothes. It'll remember that I bought a pair of jeans last week, and it'll make suggestions that will go with that. It'll know that I don't like to wait in line, so it'll do the transaction for me. And it'll know that I don't want to carry a bunch of bags around, so it'll arrange to have all of those things that I've bought sent to my home within the hour. So access opinions everywhere. Millennials have come to expect the ability to access the opinions of real people wherever they are contemplating a purchase decision. They are really, really motivated by real opinions from real people. So sure, those are friends and family, but more often, what motivates them is opinions from strangers. So opinions from people that they perceive to be like them. This is called word of mouth, and it's nothing new to anybody in this room, and it's as old as time. But what's different now is that the decision-making points are spread out and dispersed. And with the convergence of paid, owned, and earned media, consumers don't make the distinction anymore. They just want to access those rich opinions so they can feel better about their purchase decisions. And they don't make the distinction between your marketing strategy or your channel strategy or your business plans or your marketing calendar. They just want to look for opinions that will help them feel good about what they're going to buy. So right now, the Home Depot, company that totally gets this. So they know that when people are looking for information about paint, maybe they're doing that on their laptop at home. Maybe they're doing it on their laptop at work. Maybe they're doing it on their mobile phone while they're waiting in line somewhere. And maybe they're doing it while they're walking through the aisle. So Home Depot has QR codes so that people can pull up real stories from real people while they're contemplating paint decisions. So Emily, who we talked about, 5 years from now, Emily's going to have a new apartment. Not a new home, but a new apartment. And she's going to also have a new couch and a new puppy. And she knows that couches and new puppies are not a good match. But she doesn't know what to do about it. So she types the problem into her Google Glass, and she heads out to a big box retailer. So the Google Glass will actually make the decisions for her. She doesn't have to figure out what aisles to go to or ask anybody. It directs her to the stain repellent aisle. And right as she gets there, it pulls up all the starred reviews of every stain repellent, giving new meaning to the terms stars in your eyes, I suppose. And it pulls up Scotchgard, because it pulls up the 5-star rated product. And it instantly shows her videos from real people like her, real pet owners, on how to use Scotchgard. So Emily will be able to leave this big box retailer very confident that she knows how to pet-proof her apartment. So you've heard of mobile-first design, and now it's all about millennial-first design. So millennials have grown up in a generation that that is in perpetual beta, where things are never finished, where they expect to have a hand in product creation, and they have big expectations from brands and companies, and they won't engage with companies who don't invite them to be involved. So they want to have a hand in how your products go to market. They want equity in the companies they support. They want to partner with you or compete against you. And they're good at it. I mean, these millennials will take your jobs if you're not careful. So invite them in. So Skechers. Skechers has these awesome, I know for those of you who are parents, Skechers has these crazy little shoes that light up, you know, when kids walk around in them. And moms loved them, dads loved them, kids loved them. But you know who didn't love them? Teachers. So millennial moms, and yes, there is such a thing as millennial moms. Contrary to popular belief, millennials are not all like freshly minted college graduates. Many are in their 30s and parents of school-age kids. So millennial moms and Skechers got together and had a discussion and realized that these shoes needed to be something different. And they co-created a new shoe that had an on and off switch. And all of a sudden, it worked. So as we move to an economy that's less about ownership, and millennials don't put much value on owning things, and is more about subscribing and participating with brands, we can expect to see consumers having a lot more input on what goes to market. So 5 years from now, I'm going to subscribe to an iPhone. An iPhone, Apple is a company that we all know has the ethos of, you know, the customer does not tell us what they want, we tell them what they want. But the thing is, every business is going to have to change. So I'm going to subscribe to an iPhone, and I'm going to tell it, I don't want to wait 2 years for my new phone. That feels like a lifetime. I want a new phone 3 months from now. That's what I expect from my subscription. And you know what? I'm tired of that itty-bitty little keyboard that my clunky thumbs can't type on. I want a swipe-to-type phone. And there are going to be enough people like me co-creating with Apple that by, I don't know, December, I'll have a new swipe-to-type phone. So return on data, access to authentic opinions, and millennial-first design. When you put these three things together, they are representative of some big trends that are shaping consumer behavior and the relationship between consumers and brands. So as a reminder, for brands to stay relevant with millennials, you're going to have to offer up a relationship. It's a two-way street. Millennials expect that you're going to interact with them. You're going to have to stop making the distinction between the online and the offline world, because they don't. It's just one world that they live in. And you're going to have to act on their input. And I think a lot of us have appeased our sensibility in thinking that we're listening to input, and that's not going to be enough. You're going to have to act on input. So at the core of a lot of these ideas is the concept of big data. And everybody's talking about big data, big data, big data. But really, big data is just small data at scale. And for millennials, small data is just a series of small wins. So it's things like a pair of jeans that fits better, or a skin cream that works, or a more fun night out. So the next time any of you are tempted to malign a millennial, I would encourage you not to, and to take a look at what you would like your life to be like in the next 5 years. And that's the millennial effect. Thank you.